share this directly into my private group so that I can share it with more people. Just give me 2 seconds. So in Canada, today is a stat holiday. It's Family Day. If you're in America, I think it's President's Day. I'm curious, does that mean you get the day off work if you have a corporate job? Hopefully you do. Okay, there we are. I'm just going to share this to my group. Bear with me. Okay, there we go. All right, so what is today's live stream all about? Well, we're talking about alignment with our higher calling. What does even higher calling mean? And how to do just that. And also something that I gotta say, I really don't like the phrase. And that phrase is find your purpose. And I gotta admit, I've been guilty of saying find your purpose or uncover your purpose probably 1,000 times in the work that I do. But the reason why I'm so anti find your purpose and prefer the phrase alignment with your higher calling is because finding your purpose is so finite. It almost makes it sound like there's this one thing, this one elusive thing we're supposed to find, and if we find it, we're successful and we're done and we've made it, and if we don't find it, we're lacking and we're not going to feel fulfilled unless we uncover that one elusive purpose. And I don't like that because it's also really giving our power away to something outside of us, saying, I won't feel good until I find that thing that I'm searching for that's out there. Whereas when we use the phrase aligning with our higher calling, it gives us permission to have so much more flexibility, so much more expansiveness, and opportunity to keep pivoting and shifting what it is we might be wanting to do based on how it feels. Because throughout the course of your lifetime, you're going to have a multitude of things that you could call your purpose. And it's not to say that one is better than the other. It's just you in this human body as a soul having a human experience, you're always emerging into that next phase, into that thing that's calling you forward. And when we say it's a purpose outside of us, it makes it sound like you're lacking something in you, when the truth is, think about how an acorn already has all of the wisdom, all of the ingredients, everything it needs inside of it right now to grow into a full-fledged oak tree, right? It already has it all in there. It doesn't go outside to get something it needs. That's like us. In our DNA, like literally in the DNA that we're born with, we already have every key ingredient in order to support us move toward and embody our higher calling in life. And it's just a matter of following what I call the breadcrumb trail that will help us go that way. So right out the gate, we're going to reframe finding your purpose to just simply aligning to your higher calling. And that will bring so much more spaciousness and, enjoyment to this process. So the crucial part with following your higher calling or aligning with your higher calling is learning to trust the soft nudges and pulls, the whispers sometimes that you could barely hear if your life is filled with too much stuff and too much distraction and too much focus on what people outside of you might be doing, or too much focus on doing societal norms to fit in. I'm definitely a rebel of societal norms. They do not suit me whatsoever. I'm an indigo at heart for sure. And so the thing is with following these soft nudges from the heart, hey Katie, hey Jamie, hey Pessar, hey Bretza, what following those little soft nudges could be like what's an actual example of it? It could actually literally just be a curiosity in something that you haven't been curious about before. It could be this curiosity of, oh, I'd like to learn about this, and then giving yourself permission to learn about that. It could be a curiosity in learning more about, something that might seem weird or bizarre to someone else, but there's something about it that's calling you forward, and giving yourself the permission to just put time and energy into that. And I'm going to give you my example of this, of how I literally just followed these like little curiosities that I didn't have before, and then they started bubbling up, and at first they were whispers and then they got louder and louder. But I'm going to share with you of of how I followed those, and how that step right there of just like following that little curiosity is what led me to build 3 unrealistic soulpreneur businesses. Operational right now, 2. One of them I retired because I was too busy, but literally all of them unrealistic, and all of them reflective of me aligning to my higher calling just from listening to those soft little nudges, those little whispers. So here is the story. I remember working in my cubicle. This was many years ago in corporate. This little cubicle, and I had fluorescent lighting over top of me, and I was just like dreading going there, knowing I was squandering my gifts, but I didn't know exactly what my gifts were, what my calling was, and how to have that become my career. But instead, what I was doing in that little cubicle, rather than actually focusing on my job at hand, what I was doing is I was researching metaphysical properties, the healing benefits of rose quartz, lots of crystals for that matter. And it just seemed like, so to an outsider looking at me, that would have seemed so pointless, so random, like I don't get it, just focus on your job, get your job done. But there was a curiosity I had, this was 6.5 years ago, there's a curiosity I had that was like, I just want to learn about this. I know this is kind of weird, and I wasn't into crystals before, but I'm curious about it, so I was reading about it and learning about it. That's an example of following the breadcrumb trail without trying to figure out where it's going to lead, but just being present for the experience of that true curiosity in your heart. And then the curiosity also arose in me of learning about holistic health and well-being, and that led to learning about natural remedies for the skin and natural skincare. And that simple curiosity turned into my Body Cherish high vibrational skincare company. It's now been running for over 4 years, and it's made with the natural ingredients that I was learning about just for fun, and with crystal essences, which is crystal energy. So you see, me pursuing the curiosity about crystals ended up paying off by me then developing a skincare company with the crystal essence energy made into the skincare, right? But I had no insight of that then. And then if we take it a step even further, I was learning about how to practice radical self-love, radical self-care. I was learning to really take care of myself in a way that I never had in my 20s. I'm 35 now. In my 20s, I was neglecting myself. I was attracting romantic partners who neglected me, and it was all a mirror on the outside world to show me of how I was treating myself internally through my thoughts, my feelings, my beliefs, my decisions, back then through my alcohol abuse, all of those things. And so I decided I want to start doing the opposite of neglecting myself. I want to actually open up the dictionary and look up what would be the antonym to the word neglect, so that I could be empowered to literally give myself a different behavior and treatment. And guess what the opposite word was? Jamie, you totally know this. She's been in one of my programs. The opposite word was cherish. When I read that word, ripples of excitement flooded my body. And why is that? Because I knew right then and there, not only was this skincare line I was in the midst of building and branding and launching, I realized that I actually needed to change its name from Create Wellbeing. I changed its name right then and there to Body Cherish, because I realized part of my higher calling was not just sharing healthy skincare, it was actually empowering women to learn how to cherish themselves. And the medium in which I gave them to do that was through natural skincare. But that's just the medium in which I'm able to execute that part of my calling of learning to go from neglecting myself to cherishing myself, and now being able to empower other women through my own adversity to cherish themselves, right? To use the skincare, read the blogs, all the things in a very empowering state of mind of, I want to cherish my body, I want to feel good, and I want to do this from an energy of love and kindness, not criticism or not enoughness, right? So that's one example of the breadcrumb trail leading to the higher calling, and how you need to not overthink what the curiosity is and just allow it to be there and trust that it's there literally in your DNA. It's encoded in when you're born, it's encoded into you on purpose. So the very curiosity, the thing that you feel passion and excitement to move toward and learn about, it's going to evolve, but you just don't know how, and that's not your job to worry about that. Okay, so here's another example. Okay, that was that company, and then how did it turn into all these other businesses? Well, so my curiosity of learning about the holistic health and crystals led to that business, and then learning even more about energy healing and the chakras, and just it was pure curiosity. But because I followed that, it led to me become a Reiki practitioner and then a crystal healer. And then that was the second career. But then the third career, which is my main job these days, is I do online coaching and mentorship and programs and courses and all the things, retreats, you name it. But that came forth honestly, not through like one decision, I'm going to be this. It was, oh, I'm curious about this, I'm going to read about it. I'm curious about that, I'm going to read about it. And I never saw Z when I started at A. You can only see step B when you're at A. Maybe you can see 2 steps down the road, but you can't really see the full unfolding. And that's where, to align with our higher calling, we really have to have a sense of trust and faith that we're actually being guided each step of the way. And the reassurance it's the right step is, does it feel exciting? Do we feel curious about it? Does it bring a sense of passion and energy into our body? When we feel passionate about something, we literally receive energy into our body, and that's what allows us to be energized to work on something. But if it's not the right fit for us, we're going to lack feeling energy to dedicate our time toward it. So think about your career right now. Are you energized to go to the office that you work at? Are you energized to do your job? If it lights you up from the inside out, then that's a clear sign you're doing something that's reflective of your higher calling. But if it's a drag and it's draining and you come home and you want to pass it on the couch like I did when I was in corporate, and you don't even want to go to work and you're just like, oh, I wish I had more time to work on this other thing that brings me joy, then that's a sign you have an awesome opportunity to pivot and course correct your life so that the actions, decisions, and behaviors you make will support you on that breadcrumb trail to your higher calling. And then the other thing about this is that once you find this higher calling, give yourself permission that it's not necessarily always going to be that thing forever. Meaning, as you grow and evolve as a human being, as a soul in your flesh suit, your interests and passions may change, and that it's okay to course correct where you're dedicating your time. And that's again why we don't want to say find your purpose, because it's so finite. Rather, just allow yourself to keep evolving, emerging, and growing into that next level expression of your highest self. Doesn't that feel so much more freeing and liberating, and like you have full sovereignty, like you're a visionary, a boss of your own life, right? How amazing is that? Okay, so the other thing I want to give an example here is, you might be thinking like, oh, aligning with my higher calling might sound great, but just unrealistic for me. How could I give up this corporate career I have? How could I give up that I'm a nurse and I make 110K a year? How could I give up this? I went to school for all of these years. I guess I just have to sacrifice my happiness and joy for the rest of my life. And I'm going to say BS. You know what? No. That is not true at all, because I went to school for 5.5 years to become a primary therapist and a physiologist. I only paid off those student loans a couple years ago, and I still chose to quit that job because I still have 40 years of work ahead of me. I want to work with joy till the day I die. I don't want it to be a treacherous experience until I finally get to retire. That seems so like giving up on life to some extent. Here's an example. A client I worked with a couple years ago, she made 120K a year. She worked in oil and gas in Alberta. It was a fantastic job. She went to university for it, all the things. Her name's Megan. Well, guess what? Megan said, fuck societal norms. I'm going to do what brings me joy. I'm going to honor my passions, my higher calling. So guess what she does instead of oil and gas? She teaches and empowers women on essential oils, how to live healthy lives, how to run and improve their fitness and transform their mindset. Is that anything you learn about being a possible career path when you're in career counseling in grade 10 in high school? No, it's not. It's unrealistic by societal norms. But guess what, guys? The world is waking up, and more people are realizing the archaic paradigm that we were raised in that says memorize the same facts, study the same subjects, and pick a career from this assortment and don't do anything else, right? But leaders and light workers and change makers are waking up to a new possibility, and further to that, a new paradigm. And what's a paradigm? Paradigm is your thoughts, feelings, perceptions, beliefs that are unconscious and conscious. And whatever paradigm you're operating in is going to be reflective of what reality you're subscribing to, what reality you're attracting into your life. So if you believe from everything you've been taught by your teachers, your parents, and your grandparents, and this peer group you surround yourself with, that all you get to have is a job that you don't like, or an income that is barely enough, or a relationship that sucks, then that's what you will keep attracting. But where you can break out of that paradigm is saying, I'm willing to be mindful of my thoughts. I'm willing to actually choose new thoughts. I'm willing to take radical accountability of my life for where I am, radical responsibility. I'm willing to no longer be a victim and say my circumstance is why I'm here, which is outside locus of control, and saying things suck because of him and her and my parents. But what if you took radical accountability and said, my life is 100% because of me, my decisions, thoughts, actions, and behaviors, my vibration? What would happen then? Well, I'll tell you what happened for me. My income doubled, my happiness tripled, I met my soulmate, and I got sober. A lot of good things happened, but there was a place where I was playing the victim card. Oh, woe is me. I grew up in an abusive family. My mom moved away. I got removed from my dad's house at 15. I was living on my own at 17. A waitress, a gajillion hours a week, saving every penny, not enough money to pay for cable, and I still put all that money to get into college for my first year. So I didn't use the excuse of, oh, woe is me, I can't make something for my life because I grew up in what would be considered like poverty, or like basically right there on the poverty line. Instead, I said, I deserve to have a different kind of life, and I'm going to go and make that. And I did. Just like you can. You can have a crappy past relationship, a crappy current job, whatever the case, but it doesn't mean that's the reality you have to subscribe to for the rest of your life until you retire, right? Sorry guys, I get a little heated on this topic because I think that a lot of people subscribe to the limitations and the reasons why they can't have success and full alignment with what they're here to do versus the reasons why, versus looking to see how can they be resourceful to have the kind of life that is deeply fulfilling and brings them joy, ease, and a sense of purpose and impact. In any case, the takeaway is follow the breadcrumb trail, move toward the things that you're curious about without over-analyzing why, and trust and put faith that the outcome is going to be in your favor as long as you're listening to that wisdom, the soft nudges, the whispers in your heart, in your soul. Anyways, I will be signing off now. I hope you guys have a beautiful day. Bye.